Hey there. You're tuning into the Guardians podcast. We talk about Overwatch here. It's been 25 episodes, which means we're one quarter of the way to 1 million episodes. It's kind of a big deal. So yeah, 25 episodes. I mean, we've been live for 25 weeks. I mean, obviously it's been longer than that. We've had our quick hits, like we did the one where I was by myself. We did the one where it was just you and I, and but I mean, 25 live episodes. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice little milestone that we hit.
It's not bad. That is sure.
Not bad. I mean, it's been a good time. It's been a fun ride. I mean, we've gone through some changes. We've gone through some format updates. But I mean, it's definitely been fun. And I mean, and to follow the growth of Overwatch as well, from closed beta to open beta to release, and have us grow with them. It's been kind of sweet. But anyways, I'm Veritech. This is my wingman, One Eye, and we are the Guardians. We are a podcast that focuses on Overwatch. And now that we're done swooning all over ourselves and Overwatch, how's your week been? This is another week where we didn't stream very much together because of life events.
Yeah, we did it. We were able to do a couple streams today. This week. I want to say 2 or 3, but yeah, we weren't able to do the whole week. Some stuff came up, but it's been good, man. In my free time, and I know this happened with you a little bit too. Let my nerd show a little bit. Been playing a bunch of Magic the Gathering. Got a few of my friends into it, and so they've been getting all hyped and buying decks and stuff. So it's a little bit of free time I've been having this week. I've been playing some cards, like you do.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, I bought my deck, and in fact, I've been driving my wife nuts because every time we go out to a store, I buy more packs. Like I bought 2 more packs of Oath of the Gatewatch because I thought it looked cool. Like the art was cool. I'm like, I have no idea
I
if
love
they're
the art.
yeah. So I mean, and I've been reading a little bit, but except for playing against people, there's really no way to get better at Magic. So I just need to play. So, but yeah, I got a deck, and I'm 33 years old, never played Magic. I've only ever seen people playing Magic. So I'm gonna get into it, and hopefully it'll be a good time. So yeah, I mean, it's been one of those weeks. We've had a couple of those. We had a couple streams together, but it's like
some Dead by Daylight, a little bit of Evolve. So
yeah, and a lot of updates. I mean, even in Paragon, there's a new character. In Overwatch, there's balance patches. Like every game we play, there seems to be updates every single Tuesday, and we're like, what the hell are we gonna play? But yeah, it was a good time. I mean, it's been a good week, but this is a new week of Overwatch. We don't have a whole lot to cover. We got some competitive. For those of you who tune in week after week, know I struggle with the E-League and Face It qualifier points. I have no idea what they mean, and I finally figured it out, so I can actually give you an update on that. Not a whole lot of acquisitions. Normally we go over that. I will say that FaZe Clan officially signed their roster. They said that they were going to pick up a roster, and after that we didn't hear a whole lot of updates. Well, they've been competing. They signed a roster. They're starting to have results. What the hell is this? Call of Duty is leaking into Overwatch. But they signed they signed a roster. Zoms, who used to be on Team Liquid, Too Easy, Shadowburn, one of the greatest Genji players on the planet, Forsaken, they were all part of We United, and then they picked up Raucus and FCTN from Oh No, who's one of the top unsigned teams, and that is the new roster of FaZe, and they've been competing for probably about the last 10 days or so under that banner, and coincidentally enough, there have been some results from E-League and Face It featuring FaZe, but we'll get to that in a second. We'll go ahead and wrap up the ESL Atlantic Showdown. You and I had our predictions for the group stages, and they were pretty bad. There was pretty much European dominance across the board in the tournament. For those of you who were following along, it was NA versus EU to see who's the best. Pretty much Envious and Fnatic out of Group A, they're essentially half Europe and half North America. They're NA organizations now, even though Fnatic is typically Europe. They picked up a North American roster, but still half the roster was European. They came out of Group A, and Reunited and Rogue came out of Group B. Now, our predictions were, I predicted Cloud9 and Rogue in Group B, and you predicted Cloud9 and Complexity. Well, we didn't really hit that one. I got Rogue.
No, not so well.
I was lucky to kind of go with Rogue, but even then, I kind of wanted to go with Complexity. And then out of Group A, we both picked Envious, which no brainer. They're the top team in the world. But then you picked Dignitas, and I picked Misfits, and they just kind of fell on their faces. So, essentially, Cloud9 finished last in their group, and Dignitas didn't win a single round. So we kind of flopped on that. However, in the grand finals, it was Rogue versus Reunited, with Rogue taking the entire thing by a score of 3-1. So GG's to Rogue. They are the top team in the world by ESL standards. Also, like I said, E-League and Face It, the Overwatch Open. It's been going on. The qualifiers have been going on. It's the big $300,000 tournament. There are some groups. I figured it out, guys. I figured it out. The qualifier points. Essentially, there was one team that qualified every week, the last 4 qualifiers. And then in the top 12 teams that had qualifier points, so the top 12 teams then finished it out. There are 4 groups for each region. So Group A consists of Envious, Splice, Selfless, and Northern Gaming Red. Northern Gaming Red is now defunct. They disbanded. They dropped out. They were not replaced. So they took auto losses. That group has already played with Envious and Splice moving through their group. Group B, Cloud9, Sody Pop, Huckleberry, and Sea Algae. It's going on right now. Cloud9 just beat Sody Pop, so they moved through. Huckleberry and Sea Algae are playing each other. The winner will play Sody Pop. They will move on, whoever that is, out of that group. Group C is Fnatic, Mono, our homeboys, Colorado Clutch, and Team Liquid. The matches will begin tomorrow. And then Group D for North America group stages is Complexity, Gecko Fox, Method, and Energy. And those matches will begin Sunday. So no surprise to see Envious and Cloud9 move through. Splice has kind of been inconsistent, so it's kind of cool that they moved through. But then again, they also only had 3 people in their group. So hopefully Envious and Cloud9 can hold up their end of the bargain. I do have to say, Cloud9 was looking kind of inconsistent against Sody Pop. And their first matches, they did really well against Huckleberry. Against Sody Pop, they just smashed them on Lijiang and then really struggled to pull out a win on King's Row, but they did so. So they moved on. On the Europe group stages, there are 4 groups. Group A is Anox, Misfits, Melty, and Bikini Beach Esports. Interestingly enough, like Group A on the North America side, Group B had a team drop out, and that was Bikini Beach Esports. They played their first round against Anox and then just disappeared. They just essentially forfeited against Melty. Even so, Anox and Misfits moved on out of that group. And then, like I said, FaZe Clan, showing results. They were in Group B against Rogue Tornado Rocks, which is a newly formed Russian team, and Gatekeepers. And then FaZe and Rogue advanced earlier today out of that group. Group C is Reunited, B-Fly, our Flamingo brethren, Bringos, and Ninjas in Pajamas. The matches will begin tomorrow. And rounding it out, Group D is Luminosity, No Name Yet, Overwatch Kings, and Dignitas, with those matches to start Sunday. And that is our competitive roundup. I can finally take a breath. I mean, typical names we're used to seeing, and then some names we haven't seen in a while, like B-Fly, Ninjas in Pajamas. It's nice to see their name. We know them from other titles. But I mean, watching Atlantic Showdown and seeing our picks pretty much just fall on their faces. I mean, what are your thoughts over the past week in competitive? I mean, what do you expect to see coming out of the group stages in E-League and Face It? Who can we expect to see kind of making it out of those groups that haven't played yet?
Well, I mean, the people we've seen get through already, no big surprises there. Admittingly, phases a little bit just because, you're used to seeing in Call of Duty, so it's like, oh, Overwatch, this is the wrong game. But, they're putting up numbers, so no surprise there. For me, the real group to watch is Group C in North America. And that's not just because, I have a lot of pride for Clutch and Colorado and all that jazz, but I really, really do like watching Fnatic and Liquid play. So I think overall that bracket's going to be really, really interesting. I'm excited to watch Group C quite a bit. I'm hesitant to say any predictions considering how badly we whipped last time. But, regardless, I think that's going to be the most exciting group.
Yeah.
Out of D, my money, I mean, like I said, I've been wrong before, but would probably be on complexity and RNG. And then as far as European groups C and D, Reunited, pretty safe bet. They consistently put up results. They do well. So Reunited is probably a good one. I would like to see Ninjas in Pajamas just because I like the organization. I like some of the players, so that would be cool. And then as far as D, that's a tough one. I can't honestly say no name yet, and Overwatch Kings jump to mind in terms of players or rosters. So, I want to say Luminosity and Dignitas just because I know them. But it's tough to say. I definitely think that those groups will be good, though. There's some good matches in there, so I'm excited to check them out, especially tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time, and I'm going to make sure I tune in too. But what we're seeing in the competitive scene is with patches that come and go and balance changes that happen, these teams just move up and down. And we saw it, I mean, the poster boys for that was Cloud9, and the fact that they were just wrecking people. They were the top team in the world. I think Envious was and Luminosity, the old roster, were the only two that really could kind of stand up to them. And then Blizzard came out and said, we're going to switch to one hero limit, and all the tournaments went, yep, we're going to do the same, and suddenly they started to struggle. So you're seeing a lot of these teams that just do so well, and then they just kind of falter later on when there's a balance change or the meta shifts. So, I mean, you saw it a lot. These teams that used to run Lucio Mercy and were really strong in their support play, all of a sudden were playing Lucio Zenyatta because that's what the meta called for, but they were just struggling against these other teams that weren't doing so well before, and now they're doing really well. And like you said, one of the teams that really just kind of consistently is above average to good is Reunited. They're consistently at the top. They don't necessarily win anything, but they're always challenging for King of the Hill on anything they kind of enter. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm excited to watch tomorrow and Sunday. I'm going to try and tune in on Sunday. We're going to be going to Colorado Springs Comic-Con, so I won't be able to watch some of it, but I'm gonna tune in for what I can. But I mean, these are some really good teams, and they're going to put forth some really good competitive action. So I recommend you guys tune in. There really wasn't much in terms of an official patch this week, but there were some kind of blue posts, and there was some stuff surrounding a certain Hispanic shadow that people are still kind of grasping at what is going to happen with that. And I'll let you cover that more, because I think you were kind of more tuned in than I was. I kind of paid attention, however. But we'll go ahead and cover the easy stuff first. They came out and said, based off of PTR, they're going to change the rank groupings in Season 2. Before, it was going to be, you had to be within 500 skill rating points to be able to queue with people. And that has changed from Season 1, where it was within 50 ranks, which was just absolutely crazy.
Huge.
And so they went ahead and they changed it to 1,000 skill rank difference. And the reason why they did this coincides with the next thing that Kaplan came out and said is they were noticing, based off of Season 1 rankings and then Season 2 placements on the PTR that they're running through, there were specific characters that were placing too low comparative to other people. And it was interesting to see Kaplan come out and say, we are noticing this. Like, for example, specifically, Mercy mains, Lucio mains, and Junkrat mains were placing much lower than they should have been, even when they were winning. And it kind of coincides with them changing the skill rating limit to 1,000, because people were coming out and one person would be 3,400 skill rating, and they'd have somebody they were playing with that was 2,360, and they're like, well, or 2,600, and they're like, well, we're not within 500, but we both were winning together. What's the deal? What's going on? Well, Lucio, Mercy, and Junkrat were placing really low comparative, and he said, Ana and Zenyatta were placing where they needed to be, people who are playing those, but these other characters, they're placing lower for some reason. And so there is a fix in the works. He didn't say what they're going to do, but he did say that they are looking into it, and they will be fixing this on the fly to kind of bring those placements up to where everyone else. So the kind of all characters get a fair shake. And some of the community has said, we'll take stats out of it, and some people said, well, keep stats in because even if you lose, we don't want to get smashed, even though we carried our team, quote unquote. Hearing Kaplan talk about this, what runs through your mind in terms of why this happens and how they can fix it?
Well, first off, I just want to say I totally feel it. If you look at my stats from season 1, the vast majority of my games ended up being on Lucio just because you and I were filling every single match, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I felt it. I didn't climb or move any direction, pretty much just sat low 50s the entire time, even though I was just playing Lucio nonstop. So that's a little reassuring for me to hear just because I did feel it. Like, it was tough to climb playing Lucio. And I didn't realize because, you know, I was only rotating between support and tank, really. But I guess I didn't really notice it when I was playing Lucio. It's just I noticed it was slow. I didn't necessarily realize it was tied to him. So it's refreshing to hear that they have data that shows little things like this and that they can identify them, isolate them, and solve them. Like that's a breath of fresh air. That's something I'm excited about. As far as the skill gap is concerned, they're not changing it for Grandmaster and Master. That's still going to have to be 500 within each other. But I think the 1,000 makes sense. And we have to look at how they're redesigning the system. Because when we look at the Season 1 system, even though it was 50 skill points, which is, you know, much smaller than 1,000, right? The players between, like, 55 and 60 are, you know, is the difference between, like, the top 20, 25% versus the top 8%. So that 50 gap was actually gigantic. It meant pretty much anybody could play with anybody. It didn't really matter. So the fact that they're expanding exactly, you know, how it works, and they're going to be different tiers, and it's going to be all these numbers and big gaps in spaces, it makes sense because hopefully what we'll see is people will still be able to queue with their friends, and, you know, as long as it's not a gigantic skill gap, it shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
So that's nice. It should hopefully fix the system. It'll be hard to say without actually touching it just because we haven't gotten to play the new season yet, but I imagine it's going to feel a lot better. All the numbers they're showing us and all the evidence inclines me to think so.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I kind of fell victim to that because in my placements when we were playing together, you know, we did all 10 games, and I placed lower than you did, and I played only Zarya and Lucio. I think I played 7 of my games on Lucio and 3 on Zarya, and you know, I think it kind of suffered initially. And then every time I played a game on Lucio, and every time you played a game on Lucio, we would always get less ranking points whenever we would win comparative to everybody we were playing against. Because we pretty much always played with the same 4 or 5 people. You know, you and me would play with our buddies, and you know, it was almost consistently less points whenever we were on, you know, Lucio, whenever our buddy was on Mercy, whenever I was on Junkrat. You know, it was like, you know, we would get half a level, and then the people who are on these characters would get, you know, a third of a level, and you're like, well, wait a minute, we both won. Why is this happening? So the fact that they're recognizing this and they're saying, yes, we are, in fact, confirming your suspicions, this did happen. I mean, luckily they caught it in the first competitive season, so we're not going, you know, 5 or 6 seasons and everyone's like, what the crap, you know, Lucio's so good, but I keep, you know, not winning as much as my friends, I don't want to play him. So, you know, he's still kind of a staple in the competitive meta, but now they're saying, you know, we recognize they're not getting as many points, so we're going to go ahead and fix that. So, good on them, and I'm really excited for Season 2. It's starting here pretty soon, and I really can't wait for it to start up because these changes that they're making, I'm super excited for. It was a slow week. I mean, there was something else that you're going to cover that pretty much there have been some breadcrumbs regarding Sombra.
Oh man, that's a delicate way of putting it.
Yeah, and I mean, stuff's been going on, and websites have been going out, and you know, the tinfoil hats have been getting put on, and skulls are getting posted everywhere, and people are going, all right, well, what does this mean exactly? Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and kind of break into that a little bit, and we'll just kind of discuss it.
Sure. So full disclaimer before I get started, I won't be going incredibly in depth into the subject for a few reasons. First off, there's a ton to cover, and I don't honestly think we could do it all in an hour and a half if we tried. And then second off, because of the nature of what I'm about to discuss, it's better if you experience it anyways. So if it sounds interesting to you when I'm done describing it, please feel free to go head over to the Overwatch Reddit, get involved, because this stuff's awesome. And what we're talking about specifically is the Somber alternate reality game. So for those of you who might not be familiar with what an ARG is, an ARG is this kind of live viral marketing, generally marketing, not always. But what it is the content creators leave hints, video clues, things like that, and the community will piece together all the different clues, little hints, figure it all out, and as they discover more, content creators release more information. It's like a giant interactive puzzle game. It's called an alternate reality game because it takes place in the real world, and the first one I ever participated in was season 1 of Marble Hornets. So these are something that I played around with, and they're really fun. It's just generally there's so much data and so many small things that if you're going to get involved, there's quite a bit to it. But pretty much what happened is it all more or less started the past few videos Blizzard's released, like with the Ana trailer and things like that. They've snuck in keyframes with numbers, hidden images, things like that into the videos. And earlier this week, they posted a thread on the Battle.net forums that is officially hacked. As in, Sombra has hacked it. You can go to the page. It's all janky. There are just letters and numbers popping up. There are a bunch of images in the background, things like that. And players are, through absolutely ridiculous means, from binary translating to just all sorts of stuff. Sky coders, 23-bit hexadecimal codes, just really ridiculous means. People are finding out more and more hints about Sombra. We're talking email addresses. We're talking hidden videos, hidden imagers, different skulls made out of text generators. Like, there is tons. But pretty much what it all boils down to is, A, we officially know that Sombra is the reason that Ana's eye is missing. And we also know that she's coming. And this isn't like before where they had kind of teased Sombra and they're like, hey, there's a new female character coming and it's not her. Like, we know she's coming. That's the whole point of the arc. So, like I said, if you're really interested, and this is an interactive thing, there are a ton of layers to it. I mean, if you go to the Reddit post, they update it because it's a community project, so it's just a giant thread where everyone's involved. If you actually go to the Reddit post and look, there has, as of a few days ago, been 10 edits, and there's about 19 hours left to go on the countdown. So if you want to get involved, please head over to Reddit and do so. It's super fun, but expect a very long trail of breadcrumbs. It is very complicated and very in-depth, but I can say the juice is worth the squeeze. That is for sure.
Yeah, it's nuts, the amount of detail that is not only getting put into it, but how fast people are able to start deciphering things. Whether or not it has anything to do with what we think it's leading to, which it very well looks like it's going to, but I mean, it's like, what the... It just goes to show the amount of effort that is getting put into Overwatch, and we've been saying this. This is the trend. We've said it over and over again. They put effort into the comics. They put effort into the animated shorts. They put effort into, the backstory and the lore and the connections between characters and potential characters that have come out, and the fact that, Ana as far as mom and everything connects, and now you got this Sombra stuff. People are going crazy over it, and I know I've been getting into it. There's a picture, and unfortunately I didn't add it to the live podcast, so I can't show it on stream, but there's a picture that somebody found out and they deciphered, and there's a, her last name is Kowalska, and, over on the right-hand side, and very just deep, really barely able to see it, is like the quote-unquote Sombra skull, and it's like the amount of stuff that people are just pulling out of this, it's like, and just like the detail that's into it, like this website. You email the website and it emails you a reply back, and you're like, what? So I mean, it's just amazing the amount of detail that's going into it.
It's really surprising for me because we talk about Blizzard's involvement in Overwatch and how they really care about the game and they're really into putting in the lore and making it everything they can be. But I would have never guessed that they would have done an alternate reality game. The amount of planning and resources and difficulty to properly execute an alternate reality game is insane. Like, if you look at the actual number of alternate reality games that have been successful, like Marble Hornets, or when they did the marketing campaign for Cloverfield, things like that, it's crazy. You're pretty much marketing and aiming towards such a small group of people who A, will even pick it up in the first place, much less B, be able to finish it, that you know, a lot of the time is when big companies are concerned, it's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Blizzard's like, oh no, we're having, you know, like this evil, sketchy hacker character coming in, so we're gonna put the work in. Like, we're putting in an ARG and everything. I mean, it blew me out of the water. I was surprised because we saw the little hints in the videos, but I never thought that they would go all the way and do a full blown ARG.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It just, and it's fun to watch, especially because I'm not smart enough. I don't know much about hexadecimal, you know, and ciphers and what the ciphers say for it. I don't know much of that outside of like Hollywood movies and TV shows. So to watch other people do all the work and me just sit back and reap the benefits of finding out what they figure out, you know, and they're even going so far as to like take the old Somber Skull and transfuse it over to the new Somber Skull and highlight the differences between the two skulls, and it spells out this message that if you have the cipher and the keyword and you just you decrypt it, then it gives you this phrase, and this phrase which turns into this, and it's like, God dang, like the amount of effort. And you're right, like we could just break this down point by point and spend 3 hours talking about it.
Like I said, man, if you don't believe me, like not to get a little off topic, but there's a YouTube channel called Nightmind, who one of the things he does is he breaks down a lot of long running alternate reality games and like Slenderverse games and stuff like that. And you'll see like 4 or 5 videos on a couple season series that are each like 2 or 3 hours long. So like the amount of depth that can go into these is insane, and Blizzard's actually doing it. So it's really exciting, especially to see the community get involved, because like I said, they tend to be a really niche thing. Not a lot of people play them. Yeah. So yeah. It's really exciting to me. It hits a nice spot in my nerddom. I appreciate it.
Yep. So, but like when I said, there's constant updates over on the Overwatch subreddit. There's some random stuff that'll pop up on the official forums on Overwatch. It has been popping up from time to time. In fact, that's how people kind of found out about this, is an initial post on the Battle.net forums for Overwatch. We can just go on forever, but just you guys are interested, go head over to Reddit, go check it out. People are doing all the work for you, so you can just sit back and watch, or you can jump in, minute by minute every time there's an update.
Either works.
Yeah, they update, and if you want to participate and try and decipher things and figure out this and open this MP4 and this specific video file extension, and it'll give you you can get into that. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy everyone else doing all the work, and then once Samba is released, if she is a playable character, which someone did make the point of saying, wouldn't it be funny if Sombra isn't a playable character, but she's just a person that releases information on upcoming new heroes? And it's like, that
would be interesting.
Yeah.
For the record, if that is the case, even though I really don't think it is, judging by the skulls and the information people are finding in the Spanish, and it's Sombra. But in the 10% chance that it's not Sombra, especially given my track record of being really wrong at calling things, I'm inclined to think that heroes 23 and 24 in the Overwatch roster will be Sombra and Doomfist.
I hope so.
For the record, that's my bets.
I hope so. I mean, that's what we thought, because Jeff Kaplan did confirm months ago, yeah, we are working on a tank and a support. Well, the support came out, and guess what? It wasn't Sombra, the support sniper. It was Ana. So I'm still banking on, and I'm not going to put all of my eggs in one basket, but I'm banking on Doomfist being the tank, and now watch them throw a curveball, and it's going to be Soundquake. I don't know. I really I want to see Doomfist, and I want to see Sombra, because the amount of hype surrounding Sombra, like the character, if she is not like the equivalent of a Death Knight or a Demon Hunter for WoW, people are gonna be like, wow, all of it's gonna be like, but I'm really excited to see what they come up with, and even if it's just another regular character, I mean, the amount of work that's going into releasing her. Blizzard knows that people are crazy about Sombra. It's been nothing Sombra. There's a voice line that Reaper says in the game, which is why they are embellishing us so much, because they know it's not just the reveal, it's the cat and mouse game that we're playing leading up to it that really we're enjoying watching play out. So, guys, go over to the subreddit and check it out. Go to the official forums. Keep your eyes peeled. Just keep your nose to the ground, and things will come up. They are coming up. There's a website called amomentincrime.com where there's a there's a percent for something and it's going up. I shared it to the rest of the Guardians crew. When it was at 2%, it jumped up to 3%. It's now at 5.8446%. Like, it's going up. There's some, once it hits 100%, it's going to be interesting to see why it's counting up, what it's for. But again, it's in Spanish, which Sombra is Spanish for shadow. So I mean, yeah, I'm sure it all ties together. There's just way too much for us to cover in our time slot. So
yeah, I mean, it's really just a mountain. Like, if you guys are interested, I highly recommend it. If you've never experienced an arc, it's a fun thing to do if you never have. So for sure, go check it out.
It is. But like we do every week, we also do Community Spotlight, and we usually have a few things. This week we have 4 things that we want to cover. You have 2, I have 2. But one thing I wanted to go off on a little bit of caveat is Blizzard said, they're going to limit the amount of SFM resources, the amount of editor models that people are able to use, and they still have enough out there that people are going nuts. Like, they're creating intros with Roadhog, but Roadhog is doing Diva's intro, and the thing that I'm going to cover is Reinhardt dancing like Tracer. And I mean, like, someone said, well, they should make like an intro with Reaper where he's like laying on a pile of his own hand cannons that he's discarding. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going the amount of SFM that's getting released is just nuts. But anyways, without giving away too much more, the first thing we're going to cover, I saw it on Reddit. It was kind of cool. A guy has a 10-year-old daughter, and she loves Overwatch. She loves playing Overwatch. She loves it so much that she created a 15-second long stop-motion video and uploaded it to YouTube, and it's called Overwatch Stop Motion. And pretty much it features Tracer, Soldier 76, and Mercy. And it's done in the Lego style with Lego characters. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but it has those 3 characters because those are her 3 favorite characters. Overwatch Stop Motion. Guys, go check it out on YouTube. My second thing is, like I said, there is a Reinhardt who is dancing like Tracer. And I'm going to go ahead and put it up for you guys to see. It's the Reinhardt model dancing like Tracer.
It's so good.
It's like, what? It's like, okay, I mean, Reinhardt is dancing like Tracer, and it's just awesome. Like, it's just the amount of creativity the community has. It's just it's awesome. And then
gets you pumped.
It gets you pumped. It gets you pumped for not just playing the game, but just being a part of the community. And then I know you have a couple things you wanted to cover as well.
Yeah, speaking of SFM videos, one that I liked a lot, this gentleman over on Reddit, 11star32, they posted a couple of different videos where they were working on a new Reaper Play the Game intro, and the final version I thought was absolutely hilarious, which is I wanted to link it. So it's a Reaper Play the Game intro, but it's sort of mocking a couple of things. It's mocking his reload animation and the Diva highlight intro where she's laying on the mech. So if you want to go check it out on Reddit, go ahead and look it up. It's the final version Reaper Play the Game intro, and it sort of is a pan over just a giant mountain of shotguns, and then when it reaches the top, Reaper's leaning over the pile looking back, and he does the little peace sign, and it's absolutely amazing. It's so funny, because, I mean, that's the joke, right? When you play with Reaper, it's just like, oh, this one's empty, need a new one. Oh, this one's empty, need a new one. Like, you just imagine this breadcrumb trail of shotguns behind him, so it's always nice to make fun of that. And then the other thing, which was also topical, was a comic called When Will the Torment End by Fruit by the Foot, if you want to check it out over on Tumblr. And this is kind of what we were talking about with the Umbra arc. In it, Blackwatch races on his cell phone, and he's going, Sombra, where did you hide my leftovers? I know it was you. And she just keeps replying in text messages that are just jumbled numbers. And he's just like, oh, I don't have time for this, Sombra. Tortillas are at stake. And just more numbers just coming your way, never a straight answer.
Yep.
So I like highlighting the comics just because I appreciate the artistic talent, but I also thought it was just really topical with everything going on, because I know there are a few people in the community that's how they feel about the game. So
yeah, yep, and I displayed them for you guys. I mean, it's interesting how the community just takes things and they just mix them together and they add, and like, the Tumblr comic, it was just perfectly with what's going on right now. Like, what is Sombra trying to say? Like, there's leftovers at stake.
Get it.
Yeah. and it's completely relevant with what's going on right now with the ARG, the somber ARG that's going on. But I mean, the community is awesome, and we like to highlight it every week on the Guardians, and we encourage you guys to share anything you find. My dogs are barking right now, and I'm not sure why.
National Dog Appreciation Day. They're just trying to help out.
Yeah, there might be somebody at the door, but. Any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and end this 25th episode of The Guardians?
I just want to thank everybody who has supported and watched us, listened to us on iTunes and everything like that. We're really passionate about the game, and it's 100% our pleasure and our privilege to be able to report to you guys on things going on in the community and the game. So really, just thank you for the support and thank you for watching. We look forward to another 25 awesome shows and many more after that too.
Yep. Yep. And there are some announcements coming. I still don't know when I'm allowed to say anything, but I just will say that there's going to be some stuff going on at BlizzCon. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. But I mean, this has been the 25th episode of The Guardians, and it's awesome. And just to echo when I said, we absolutely love Overwatch. We love doing this. You know, we love coming on the camera, coming on, you know, the audio, and putting it out every week to go on, you know, iTunes for everyone just to listen to. I mean, it's an absolute passion, and it's a joy for us to do. But anyways, when we are not streaming together, or when we are streaming together, where can people find you at when we're not doing the Guardians?
Well, I'm always pretty easy to reach over at Twitter. My handle is NA1I. You can shoot me a message anytime. I'm really quick to respond. And then besides streaming during the week, once a week I also do another podcast with Multitapped, which is a retro collective that I'm involved in. And it's sort of like a variety podcast. We don't always cover video games. Sometimes we cover shows, things like that. This last Friday, we did a podcast this last Wednesday, wrong day of the week, getting them mixed up. Last Wednesday, we covered metal as a genre, talked a lot about classic metal, progressive metal, things like that. And as a little teaser for next Wednesday's episode, we will actually be covering the PS1 and all of those classic games. So if that's a console that you just fell in love with, for me personally, it was my first console, so I have quite a lot to say on that episode. Feel free to stop on by. We start at 9 o'clock p.m. Mountain, which is 11 Eastern. So love to have you there, and that's where you can find me.
Sweet. Yeah, and Multitapped it's a bunch of weird people that they come together and make some really awesome stuff. And I like hanging out with a couple of the Multitap members. And I know that One Eye loves hanging out with them and playing with them too. Like it's a really awesome group of weird, like-minded, and different people. Eclectic, yeah.
Is the word I reached for.
Eclectic, yeah.
Maybe sometimes just flat out insane, but I think eclectic sounds a little friendlier.
Eclectic is good. I mean, if you can't afford all the syllables, I would go with different. They're different, but you know, we're all nerds, and we're all, you know, this awesome community. So make sure you guys go check that out. As for me, everything is Veritech GG. You can find me at Twitch at Veritech GG. You can find me on Twitter at Veritech GG. You can find me on YouTube and YouTube Gaming. youtube.com/VeritechGG or gaming.youtube.com/VeritechGG. You can find us here every Friday, live streaming the episodes on Twitter or on Twitch and YouTube Gaming. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Once we get done with this live stream, we upload it to Spreaker, iTunes, and Google Music. If you search for The Guardians, you will find us. We are one of the top results, the others being Destiny related, and I did not realize I was doing that when I created The Guardians. However, The Guardians, you can find us there. Every episode except for episode 1, because I accidentally deleted it, and there's no way to add it without it being chronologically out of order. So episodes 2 through 25 you can find on Google Music and iTunes. But that wraps up episode 25 of The Guardians. We will see you guys next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch, right here on YouTube, and see you then.